Hey, it's Jeff here with Bow River Trout Fitters. Today we're tying Delekta's double screamer. It's an articulated pattern and it has always fished really well for me. So we're starting our thread and we just start right at the head, wind it back to the gouge or the barb of the hook. We'll take our marabou. I just use the tips. I use the hook as a gauge. I want my tail to be the same length as a hook. So I'll run the marabou up the one side of the fly, putting a little bulk in the body of the fly. We'll use two tails, 2 stacks of marabou for the tail. And I just measure it off the other one and try and tie it in and run it up the opposite side of the fly. Next we'll bring our thread back to where we started. And we'll take some olive and black hackle. And we'll take 2 of those, and we want those to be about twice the length of the tail. So measure the hook and the tail together, take 2 and place them on one side of the fly, marry them together, and tie them in. And we'll do the same on the other side of the fly. Next we'll tie in a little bit of flash. We want the flash to stick back, not quite to the end of the hackles, but maybe just slightly back from the 1 3/4 the hackle length. Tie it in, fold it over, trim it up. We'll use a dubbing loop. We're going to use some gold ice dub for the body. And this fly, you can tie it in gold, you can tie it in silver. Try it whatever color you like, experiment a little bit, but gold and silver is typically the 2 patterns that you'll see on the shelf in the fly shops. Sort out my dubbing loop. And we want the body to be fairly picky. Make sure you get a good tight wrap. So we'll tie in another quick loop here and just make the rest of the way to the head of the fly. Dubbing loops work really good for ice dub. It's a little bit difficult to twist dub with this material. The dubbing loop seems to do the best job. Now we're going to take a piece of barred marabou, olive and black, just as an overwing, and you can run 1 plume or 2. It's kind of your preference. We'll tie this in. Make sure you get it centered. If it's not quite right, loosen it off a little bit and get it where you want it. Now we're going to just dress the head up here a little bit, and I'm just going to use a little bit more dubbing just to cover the thread wraps and finish the fly off. We'll whip finish, and then we'll put the front hook in the vise. So we're using a gold cone head here, brass, tungsten, doesn't matter, it's preference for weight. We'll run our thread back. Here we're using, you can use bite wire. I think this wire is 0.38 millimeters with one small bead. Make sure the 2 wires are parallel and sit right on top of the hook. Make sure the loop that's holding the back fly isn't twisted or angled in any way. It should be straight up and down. Run your thread right up, securing the cable right up to the cone head, and then fold it over and then wrap back over top of it. Normally we'd go through the eye of the hook and bring it back, but with the cone head that makes it difficult to do, so we'll just fold it over. Here we're going to tie in a skirt. Here I just take some marabou tufts off the side of a plume. I'm breaking off the tips so they're all uniform. I don't want a real straggly skirt, so I'm going to shorten those up, just dress those ends, and then tie them in. And you just want it to extend just into the head of the back fly. Now we'll take our olive and black hackles, marry those together, run those down the side. Here we want the same measurement applies. I would say it's we don't want it to go just to the back, into the back tail of the second fly, or the back fly. So we'll put 2 of those on each side. Trying hard to keep those parallel, just down the lateral side of the hook. We'll use a little bit of flash here. Again, not quite the length of this hackle, maybe 3/4 of the way out to the hackle. Fold it over, secure it, and then you can trim that up the same as the other length. Again, we'll use the dubbing loop here, and we'll run right to the front. This time we're going to make this this body a little bit thicker. Same thing, fibers, very long fibers. Don't wind the body too tight. And we want to wind it right up and make sure that we fill the underside of the cone head. Now we'll build a little bit of a spot here where we can apply our overwing on the front fly. Same thing, olive and black marabou, barred marabou, and tie in. Here I definitely use 2 plumes of marabou. Again, we'll make sure it's right on the top, and we want that marabou to extend just into the head of the back fly. Trim that up, and again, we can use that material to fill that underside of that cone head. We'll throw our second stack on, same thing, dress that up, and we'll use another dubbing loop here just to fill the underside of that cone. And again, we want these fibers nice and long, really picky, so that they blend over top of the marabou and really put a nice head on this fly. This fly is really good on a bright day, fast water. It sleeks down, nice profile in the water. Here we'll tie off our dubbing loop, and then we'll just make sure everything's where we want it, and then we'll whip finish this fly off. So you can pick out your dubbing, make sure everything's where we wanted it. This is just a super pattern. You can really experiment with the different colors. Olive and black with gold, olive and black with silver. Change the marabou color. It's a great fly. Hope that helps you out.